The humid afternoon air clung to Jack's skin as he wiped grease from his calloused hands. His small repair shop, tucked between abandoned warehouses in the lower districts of New Seattle, had seen better days. The paint peeled from the walls, and half his tools were held together with wire and hope. But it was his, and that meant something. The hoverbike sputtered to a stop outside his shop with a dying whine that made Jack wince. He looked up from the ancient combustion engine he'd been restoring to see a figure dismount, stumbling slightly as the bike's anti-gravity failed completely. She was unlike anyone Jack had ever seen. Her skin held an ethereal quality, shifting between pale blue and silver in the fading sunlight. Her eyes were too large, too luminous, clearly marking her as non-human. Emma, as her identification badge read when she approached, was a Valerian, one of the few alien species granted refugee status on Earth after their homeworld's destruction. "Please," she said, her voice carrying a melodic quality that human vocal cords couldn't replicate. "Can you fix it? I need to get to the medical center." "My brother," her voice cracked. Jack examined the hoverbike with a practiced eye. The resonance coil was fried, the stabilizer completely shot. Parts alone would cost more than he made in a week. He glanced at Emma, noticing the worn patches on her jacket, the way she clutched a nearly empty credit chip. "How much do you have?" he asked, though he already suspected the answer. Emma's shoulders sagged. 47 credits. "I know it's not enough. I just thought." She turned away, luminous eyes glistening. "My brother needs his medicine. The pharmacy is 16 kilometers away, and the transit systems don't run to the outer settlements." Jack should have turned her away. He had his own bills to pay, his own survival to worry about. The rational part of his brain screamed that he couldn't afford charity. But something in Emma's desperation reminded him of his own sister, years ago, before the plague had taken her. "I'll fix it," Jack said quietly. Emma's head snapped toward him. "I can pay you back, I promise. I just need time, no charge." "What? No, I can't. You can, and you will." Jack's tone left no room for argument. "Go. There's a cafe 2 blocks down. Get some water. This'll take me a couple of hours." As Emma hesitantly left, Jack dove into the work. Valerian technology was notoriously complex, designed for a species with 4 manipulator appendages and the ability to sense electromagnetic fields. For a human, it should have been impossible, but humans had something that most species in the galaxy found both fascinating and disturbing. They adapted. They improvised. They made things work through sheer stubborn refusal to accept defeat. Jack bypassed the resonance coil entirely, rigging a magnetic stabilizer from an old Earth motorcycle to interface with the alien propulsion system. He couldn't read Valerian technical specifications, but he understood machines. They spoke a universal language of cause and effect, of energy and motion. 3 hours later, when Emma returned, the hoverbike hummed with smooth, steady power. She stared at it in disbelief. "How did you?" Even Valerian mechanics struggle with resonance coil failures. Jack shrugged, embarrassed. "Different approach, same result. She'll run a bit rougher than before, but she'll get you where you need to go." Emma's eyes met his, and in that moment, something passed between them, recognition, perhaps, of kindness in a universe that often had little to spare. "Thank you," she whispered. Then she was gone, the hoverbike disappearing into the evening traffic. Jack returned to his shop, expecting nothing. The universe rarely rewarded good deeds with anything but the satisfaction of having done them. He was wrong. 3 days later, a sleek transport landed outside his shop. A Valerian diplomat emerged, followed by Emma. "This is the human?" the diplomat asked, studying Jack with interest. Emma nodded enthusiastically. "He fixed my bike using primitive Earth technology interfaced with Valerian systems." The engineers couldn't believe it when they examined his work. The diplomat's expression shifted to something that might have been a smile. "Mr. Jack, the Valerian Council has a proposition. Our species has advanced technology, but lacks the human capacity for improvisation. You solved in hours what our best mechanics couldn't accomplish in days." "I just did what needed doing," Jack said carefully. "Precisely." The diplomat pulled out a data pad. "We're establishing a joint human-Valerian engineering initiative. We need someone who understands both the elegance of advanced technology and the practicality of making things work with limited resources. We need you." Jack's heart raced. "I'm just a mechanic from the lower districts." You're exactly what we need. Emma stepped forward, pressing a small device into his hand. This is a contract offer. Full funding for your shop, access to Valerian technology, and a position as chief consultant. We want to learn how humans think, how you make the impossible possible. Jack looked at the device, then at his shabby shop, then back at Emma's hopeful expression. My brother is alive because of you, she said softly. Let us give you the chance you gave us. In that moment, Jack understood something profound. The galaxy was full of species with incredible technology, with centuries of advancement beyond Earth. But humanity's strength had never been in having the best tools. It was in refusing to let inadequate tools be an excuse for inaction that he'd fixed a bike because someone needed help. Now, somehow, that simple act of compassion had opened a door to the stars. When do I start? Jack asked, unable to suppress his grin. The transformation had already begun. Not just for Jack, but for the understanding between species. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness created the biggest ripples across the universe, and sometimes, all it took was a poor mechanic who refused to let a stranger down.